have to understand what the communists do is urinate on everything.
So please excuse my sarcastic tone. I'm a bit underwhelmed by the sample shown. Mr. Bistro fraternity guy, you got my ass with bloodshot eyes. Get drunk and fight every night. Idolize Bradley, belittle women's rights. Homophobic, racist, and don't give a fucking hey. Do you think you can drive a bigger truck? So wear your baseball cap to the side to let everyone know that you're a nice guy. So cool, was so impressed. Lots of chicks and a barrel chest. Cause you're a real man. Punch for punch, gonna piss in your face while you're passed out drunk. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. He's a nice guy, but all of you are assholes. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. She's a nice guy, but all of you are assholes. Nice guys rule the planets. Well, I just can't understand it. Conquered defined by deception and lies. Social Darwinism and an overdose of pride. Fuck off, jerk off. I don't wanna hear it. Fuck off, jerk off. Read into the lyrics, cause everybody gets their just desserts. As long as you remember that nice guys finish Mr. Whitebeater, you're next on the list. Such a nice guy who speaks through his fists. Prick with the penchant for messing with heads. A broken nose for dinner and breakfast in bed. Alcoholic, paranoid, and suicidal too. But you'll probably kill her before she gets away from you. Screws in a pool of blood and cry. All your friends say that you're a nice guy. Have a drink, this one's on me. Look, you're doing fine, losing to your disease. Comatose, I'll pack your bags. Bury you like a tree and gag. Oh, I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. We're all nice guys, but all of you are assholes. He's a nice guy, she's a nice guy. Hey, Tom Bone's a nice guy. All of you are assholes. Nice guys rule the planet. The public dominant. Put a body by deception and lies. Social Darwinism and an overdose of pride. Fuck off, jerk off. I don't wanna hear it. Fuck off, jerk off. Read into the lyrics. So let the buggies will quench your thirst. As long as you remember that nice guys finish first.
Hey everybody, what's up? This is the Plex. We do the show live every Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific right here on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/EchoPlex Media. This is a listener and viewer supported programming. So those of you watching on Twitch, you know how the monetization works. Here, if you're listening on the podcast or somehow otherwise receiving this broadcast, head on over to echoplexmedia.com. Click the support link at the top of the website and, I don't know, pick your favorite way to support the show. If you don't have any money or don't want to give any money to an asshole like me, then just tell a friend about the show. Or maybe don't do that because then your friend will think you're weird. I'm producer Dave. You can find me on Grindr as long as Elon Musk doesn't outlaw Grindr, and this is what the people want.
I don't hate the cops. There's a person inside when the truncheon stops. Oh, don't hate the cops. Or when the raiders come, who will protect the shops? Donate the cops. They're a sensitive bunch if you don't stop throwing your rocks. Snap, crackle, pop is the sound of a taser. Your body drops. Donate the cops. Donate the cops. Donate the cops. Donate the cops. Thank your local police. Cause they don't do nothing wrong. Thank your local police. Got rid of the corruption and the racism is gone. They've been keeping the peace, keeping homeless folks out of the parks and malls. Got a cure for your social disease. Follow the law, don't hate the cops. 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 Put your hands above your head and show you're not afraid. I'm the fairest judge that your skin color's gonna get. And if you die before the sun comes up, the paperwork will take forever. Well, it might have worked out a little bit better if you didn't hate the cops. Cause they don't do nothing wrong. Donate the cops. You can't blame them for just doing their job. Donate the cops. Well, you gotta wonder, how much would it cost for you to be shot at and stabbed at by maniacs and drunks? Donate the cops. 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 Don't hate the cops, don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops, don't hate the cops.
We're going to open the show up, as we sometimes do, with a local news story. And this one's about Nazis.
A group of men holding swastika flags were spotted in Howell Thursday night during the screening of a documentary. It is our top story tonight at 6. Thank you for joining us. I'm Sherry Jones. Siobhan has the night off. The film Faces of Hate premiered at the historic Howell Theater last night and gained negative attention from a group of extremists. Our Taryn Simmons visited the theater.
Ma'am, Nazis. Ma'am, these people. I hate when the news does this. I know that they're trying to be like objective, but ma'am, Nazis. I know that it's fucking, you're subbing in, you're doing a great job reading the copy. It's not you, it's your producers. Nazis. People who fly symbolism, Nazi symbolism, those people are Nazis.
And she spoke to community members about this chilling incident. Taryn?
Sherry, this incident just comes a few months after a similar group of men were spotted back in November waving
a similar group of Nazis. Probably the same ones. A similar group of men. Get the fuck out of here.
Protesting against the Diary of Anne Frank play at the American Legion. This afternoon, I spoke to a man who actually confronted one of the men.
Barged into the theater, they pushed him out, and I decided to get in his face and just tell him he's a joke. And, just let him know that a black man is telling you is a joke. And I made him afraid.
Jeffrey Amayo says he was invited to watch the screening of the movie last night and says this incident hits close to home.
I grew up in West Bloomfield, Farmington Hills. I was a victim of racial harassment and racial violence. But I decided to put my foot down and no more.
The film Faces of Hate is about an ex-white supremacist who changed his ways. Tyler DePero, owner of the theater, says a man came inside earlier that...
Be like the Chiron has it, right? Chiron's like Nazi protesters. I think I would just get rid of the word protesters. I'd just say Nazis.
Day upset about the film.
And then later on, as the movie was ending, that group came back around 8 o'clock, across the street with their Nazi flags and yelling slurs.
Julie Ohashi with Sage Livingston County, the group that sponsored the documentary, said the movie caused the extremists to show up.
So we did receive verbal abuse, threats of direct physical violence. They're saying things like, race mixers are the death of the white race, and stop killing white children, and white genocide.
Ohashi says Sage combat against the extremists.
The response was to drown them out any way we could, like just play really loud music, yell over top of them, but we didn't want them to have the platform.
Ohashi says although the night ended on a sour note, the event was a success with over 100 people viewing the film. Sherry, back to you.
I think the people of Cincinnati fucking have a solution for this. Anybody see that story out of Cincinnati? Nazis showed up in Cincinnati and I think they got their asses kicked. I don't know. I think Cincinnati has a good response. So that was interesting because the speech in there, the newscasters weren't calling them Nazis, but the Chiron called them Nazis and the theater owner called them Nazis. It was really weird that for whatever reason they didn't want to call them Nazis, like using words or whatever. I don't know. Those are Nazis. I don't know. There's not a whole lot else you can say about that. So speaking of the thing we were just talking about, Elon Musk and Donald Trump had some kind of press conference from the Oval Office. A lot of people were talking about what the kid was supposedly saying to Donald Trump. I didn't think that was that interesting because it was hard to make out what the kid was saying, but the whole scene was pretty bizarre. And I have a few clips of it. Let's check out this bizarre scene in the Oval Office.
And also, could you mention some of the things that your team has found, some of the crazy numbers, including the woman that walked away with about 30 million,
right,
etc.?
Well, we do find it sort of rather odd that there are quite a few people in the bureaucracy who have ostensibly a salary of a few $100,000, but somehow manage to accrue tens of millions of dollars in net worth while they are in that position, which is, what happened at USAID. We're just curious as to where it came from.
I don't know. Are they fucking married? Like, do they have a partner who earns a lot of money? Did they invest well?
Maybe
this is bullshit.
In which case we should take their investment advice, perhaps. But just there seems to be mysteriously they get wealthy. We don't know why. Where do they come from? And I think the reality is that they're getting wealthy at the taxpayer expense. That's the honest truth of it. So we're looking at we just.
This whole thing is fucking bizarre. What is that child doing there? I mean, fucking take your kid to work day or take one of your 900 kids to work day. Like the whole thing. And like, if you're making a couple $100,000 a year, well, I don't know where you live, right? You don't necessarily live in like the DC area. Maybe if you're making a couple $100,000 a year and you live somewhere where the cost of living is much lower and you live kind of frugally, yeah, you could over 20 or 30 years. Fuck yeah, you can accumulate wealth. What if you just have a house that's now worth 10 times what you paid for it? That's another way to accumulate net worth. Like, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Also, I'm not sure that the average person working for the federal government makes a couple $100,000 a year. We got more. I have a bunch of this, and then I have some videos of like press reaction to it, and one reaction to this that you're not going to expect. You're going to be like, huh?
So people normally this quiet?
Your detractors, Mr. Musk.
I have to what?
Including a lot of Democrats.
I have detractors?
You do, sir.
I don't believe it.
Say that you're orchestrating a hostile takeover of government and doing it in a non-transparent way. What's your response to that criticism?
Well, first of all, you couldn't ask for a stronger mandate from the public. The public.
I'm sorry?
We have a majority of the public voting for President Trump.
Okay, he got he won the popular vote, but he did not technically get a majority of the voting public. It was like something like, it was just barely under 50%.
We won the House, we won the Senate. The people voted for major government reform. There should be no doubt about that. That was on the campaign. The president spoke about that at every rally. The people voted for major government reform, and that's what people are going to get. They're going to get what they voted for. And a lot of times, that people that don't get what they voted for, but in this presidency, they are going to get what they voted for. And that's what democracy is all about.
What the fuck? This guy's like on the record saying that he doesn't think democracy is a good fucking system, though. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think like winning an election and getting both halls of Congress, like, gives you a mandate to go in and do, like, make radical changes to our society. Even if the victory would have been like by 7 or 8 points, and that would be an electoral landslide in a presidential election, right? That still don't give you no mandate. People don't know what the fuck. They don't know most people, and they don't know anything about the Department of Agriculture, the Department of Education, the Department of Energy. And why should we? We shouldn't have to know everything. Like, why would we want to know all that stuff, right? As long as the stuff's working, that's like, who has the time? Who has the fucking time to always be like looking into every fucking government agency? We got another one here.
The people voted for major government reform.
Oh, nope. That's just part of the same one that we just ran.
On the campaign.
Okay, now we got some media response to it. We got some response from places. Here is Fox News's response. This is Will Kane from Fox News. I don't know who Will Kane is, but apparently he's at Fox News, and this is just the most bootlicking ass fucking thing you're gonna see.
Thank you. All right, guys. Thanks, everybody. Let's head out.
Thank you. See you later.
Fascinating, compelling, wide-ranging Q&A with President Trump.
Fascinating, compelling, wide-ranging Q&A. What's this kid doing?
The aesthetics, first and foremost. Hard to watch. Hard to look away, actually.
Wait, what? This guy's saying that. Good job, Will Kane.
Hard to stop watching what just took place on your screen right there on Fox. President Trump turning over a remarkable amount of time to Elon Musk. Among these forums, on these stages, I don't think we've ever seen President Trump turn over to someone else so much of center stage. Elon Musk taking a wide-ranging Q&A, talking about conflicts of interest, talking about transparency. But perhaps the star of the past 40 minutes was Elon Musk's son, X. Personally, I think we might want to trust a man to scour the government for waste and fraud who doesn't waste money on a babysitter.
What the fuck? No, the kid's a prop. Like, that kid's a prop. I don't know what the point was, but the kid's a prop. There's some, it makes him like, oh, he's a good dad because he brought his kid to the fucking Oval Office. Here we got Jasmine Crockett, who is a treasure, talking about this press conference from the Oval Office that we just saw.
I'm trying to figure out exactly what it is that the Republicans believe our job is, because right now they have relinquished their constitutional duties over to an unelected bureaucrat, someone who no one went out to vote for. And absolutely, he is occupying the Oval Office, as we saw yesterday. And that is a first for me, to see someone occupying the Oval Office who's never actually been elected to the Oval Office and actually answering more questions than the person that allegedly got elected. But for whatever reason, this is the first time we're having a DOGE subcommittee hearing, and that guy's not here. Instead, we have y'all. So I do want to thank you for coming.
Okay, well, yeah, it is a little confusing. I like Jasmine Crockett. So, next we got, you're not going to believe this one. You're not going to believe what you're about to see here. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. Check this out. This is the last person in the world who you would expect to say, look, any of this, actually.
Elon is inside the Oval Office, and his speech is about how the government must represent and reflect the will of the people, and it cannot be shaped or influenced or obstructed by unelected bureaucrats. Well, who elected Elon?
Fucking even little Nicky Fuentes is like, wait a minute.
The irony? Do other people not see the irony? He's sitting there behind the desk beside the most powerful man in the world saying, here's what I think. The real problem with our he's an immigrant. He's an immigrant who was not elected, who is not even eligible to be the president, sitting behind the desk saying, well, here's what I think about the problem. The problem is that people that aren't elected are running the government. Okay, and what are you doing? And when were you elected?
It's fucking amazing, dude. Yeah, like somebody in chat said, you don't got to hand it to Nicky Fuentes, obviously. Little Nicky Fuentes is a fucking terrible person. But even little Nicky Fuentes was like, what the fuck? So we saw a clip of Jasmine Crockett from this DOGE committee in the House. And here's just a little bit of a supercut of some of what was going on in this DOGE committee in the House. And of course, it's going to start with Marjorie the Gathering.
We will fight the war on waste. This is not a time for political theater and partisan attacks.
In the last Congress, Chairwoman Green literally showed a dick pic. So I thought I'd bring one as well. President Elon Musk.
If we really care about unelected bureaucrats making decisions over our lives, where were they whenever their god, Anthony Fauci, was forcing vaccine and mask mandates on the American people?
While we're sitting here this morning, the top of the New York Times is reporting that inflation has risen unexpectedly.
Total sham. The American people are $36 trillion in debt. It certainly seems reasonable that someone has been fired.
You're going to put us further in debt with your billionaire
You're
tax
not
cuts.
recognized.
The gravy train, for a lot of these folks, it's been on biscuit wheels, and it's about to run off the dadgum tracks.
To see someone occupying the Oval Office who's never actually been elected to the Oval Office and actually answering more questions than the person that allegedly got elected.
The federal government has made over $2.7 trillion in improper payments. Those are trillions of dollars that honest Americans have paid in taxes at gunpoint.
We are going to have so much fun in this committee.
It's going to be a disaster. It's going to be a fucking disaster. That committee's it's going to be just so much fodder because there's going to be so much dumb shit happening in that committee. Everybody, I don't know if you know this. There's now a commercial for DOGE, for the Department of Government Efficiency. Here you go.
Ray just found a new way to kill more bugs.
Run for it!
Go deep!
It's gaining on us!
Introducing Ray Deep Reach Fogger. Its concentrated extra fine mist takes it places ordinary foggers can't reach. To kill bugs ordinary foggers leave alive.
Phew!
Now we're in deep. Yeah, deep trouble. New Ray Deep Reach Fogger. To kill more bugs dead. S.C. Johnson Wax.
Just dumb. I don't know if they're like, I don't know if that's from the DOGE people, but it's like they were called themselves the meme team. And so that's like one of the things, like they have all these people making all these weird pro-Trump videos. It's always, it's like, that was like part of the 2016 election. They've been doing this for a very long time. And so I don't think that was from Elon and his people, but there's really not a whole lot of like distinction between Elon and his people and like who makes things and people just who make random things on Twitter. There we go. New York State is going to sue over DOGE, assuming it's still legal to sue people.
It's important that individuals understand that we cannot allow private citizens to have access to this private information. And pausing funds for the purposes of individuals bowing to the knee of the President of the United States, basically being subjected to ideological litmus tests. Individuals who do not follow his prescriptions, his policy prescriptions. This is a democracy, a representative democracy. And it's important that individuals understand that there are co-equal branches of law that need to be respected, and that states, again, have a unique responsibility to ensure that the Constitution is followed, the constitutional order of things here in this great country. And so that's why we are standing up. We're defending the Constitution. We took an oath to the Constitution, not to a man, but to the Constitution. And let me just say to the brave soldiers, the amazing individuals at the Southern District of New York, Danielle Sassone, she's a profile in courage.
These people think that they're going to write like a strongly worded letter to fascism and stop fascism. Like a lot of shitlibs think this. The Trump administration is just going to ignore court orders. I am as confident as I can be that they're going to just ignore court orders. Here we got Trump. Canada doesn't pay enough into NATO, apparently. And that being the case, I guess we should annex them. I don't think the Canadians like this idea much.
We're in for more than Europe. I mean, think of it, or NATO. I mean, let's call it NATO because Canada's in. By the way, Canada is just about the lowest payer. Also, they shouldn't be. They are just about the lowest payer in NATO, in addition to everything else. So Canada's really been taken advantage of. And if they had to pay just something modestly fair, they would be able to succeed as a country. And that's why I feel they have to become a state. Yes, ma'am.
This motherfucker. There were jokes when I was a kid about like if something happened to George Herbert Walker Bush about like President Quayle invading Canada, because there was all these jokes about how Dan Quayle was stupid. Well, times have changed. Up next, we got here's Trump. He's meeting with the King of Jordan, and he's got Marco Rubio, who doesn't look super comfortable, doesn't look super pleased to be there. But I mean, you bought the ticket, Mario. You bought the ticket, little Marco. And he's going to talk about whether or not they're buying Gaza. I guess they're not buying Gaza.
The U.S. would buy Gaza, and today you just said we're not going to buy Gaza.
We're not going to have to buy. We're going to have Gaza. We don't have to buy. There's nothing to buy. We will have Gaza.
What is that?
No reason to buy. There is nothing to buy. It's Gaza. It's a war-torn area. We're going to take it. We're going to hold it. We're going to cherish it.
We're going to take it. We're going to hold it. We're going to cherish it. Oh, man. I don't know what the fuck this guy's talking about. And what the fuck, like, imagine, I mean, like, whatever. The King of Jordan is probably a monster too, right? But imagine you're like the leader of a sovereign nation, the nation of Jordan, and you have to sit through a meeting with this guy. Here we go. The Department of Justice has filed charges against those who attempted to hold the former, current, I guess now, president accountable. Check this out. They're not supposed to be like acting out the president's personal vendettas, but whatever.
I was in the West Wing swearing in Tulsi Gabbard, and so I just came straight back here. So thanks for being patient with us with the delay. We're here today because we have filed charges against the state of New York. We have filed charges against Kathy Hochul. We have filed charges against Letitia James and Mark Schroeder, who is with DMV. This is a new
the DMV?
DOJ, and we are taking steps to protect Americans, American citizens, and angel moms, like the mom standing right behind me, who you're going to hear from in a moment.
You're suing the entire state of New York. Did you mean the Department of Motor Vehicles? I mean, I don't know. The last couple of times I had to go to the DMV, it was actually a pleasant experience. I had an appointment, and everything was fine. But I don't understand why. What do you mean suing the state of New York? And why are they going after these people? They're just going after these people because this is where the president was indicted and charged with and convicted of crimes? I don't understand. I mean, I do understand, but it shouldn't make sense, but it's fucking, of course, it's like everything is like, well, of course, this is what's happening. Up next, the president should just, if the courts rule in a way the president doesn't like, he should just defy them.
But let me just understand where you stand. If a district court judge rules in a way that the president dislikes, should the president listen or should the president defy?
If a district court judge tries to usurp the authority of the chief executive of this country, he should absolutely defy it. There's a difference between broad policy decisions and discrete disputes between parties. That's the difference. If I want a policy decided, I'll take it to the Supreme Court.
But what about checks and balances?
Well, Scott, you're
of a district court judge who elected them.
What I can't get with is you talk.
Well, the district court judges were like they're political appointees. I think the president doesn't the president appoint the federal district court judges? Like, oh god, they're like fucking setting up to just disobey any branch of government or any person who supposedly has power inside the government, just to disobey them if they don't like what the fucking results are. That's all that's happening here. Here we go. The Trump press secretary claims it's unconstitutional for judges to hold the executive branch and Donald Trump specifically accountable in any way. Actually, it's just even though it's like in the Constitution, it's unconstitutional. It doesn't have to make sense.
Now, before I take questions, I would like to address an extremely dishonest narrative that we've seen emerging over the past few days. Many outlets in this room have been fear-mongering the American people into believing there is a constitutional crisis taking place here at the White House. I've been hearing those words a lot lately. But in fact, the real constitutional crisis is taking place within our judicial branch, where district court judges in liberal districts across the country are abusing their power to unilaterally block President Trump's basic executive authority. We believe these judges are acting as judicial activists rather than honest arbiters of the law.
Yeah, but I bet a bunch of them were fucking appointed by Donald Trump.
And they have issued at least 12 injunctions against this administration in the past 14 days, often without citing any evidence or grounds for their lawsuits.
They don't have to, if somebody sues somebody, they don't have to present the evidence right away. What do you mean? That's what the fucking process is for. There's part of it's called discovery. You'll discover what the other side has. Oh, this is great. Congressmember Anna Paulina Luna. I'm just going to let this run. I'm just so glad these people are so fucking stupid. Because we would be in real trouble if these people were less stupid. Check this out.
Yeah, I was going to say, based on what we're actually looking to do with the JFK investigation, I'm looking to actually bring in some of the attending physicians at the initial assassination, and then also people that had been on the various commissions looking into, like the Warren Commission looking into the initial assassinations. There's been conflicting evidence, and I think that even the FBI at the time reported some anomalies in the initial autopsy at Bethesda, Maryland. All of those, though, seem to have been rinsed and repeated in the media to push a certain narrative that we don't agree with. And
lady, everyone you mentioned is dead. This assassination was over 60 years. These people are all dead. None of them are around for you to question them. They're dead. Like, what? No. every member of the Warren Commission is dead. Here's this is pretty good. This is AOC. She's just gonna say, like, she's gonna be essentially asked, like, oh, you know, are people gonna work across the aisle? And she's like, I don't know. She'll be like, I don't know. They have a majority. Can't they pass their own shit?
We should be very clear with the American people that the House is governed by a Republican majority, the Senate is governed by a Republican majority, and the White House has a Republican president. And if they want to pass their agenda, Republicans need to conjure up the votes for them to pass their own bills.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't find the longer clip, but we have to assume that the question was like something along the lines of, are you going to work in a bipartisan way to get things passed? And she's like, no. She's like, I thought that's the point of having a majority. You can pass whatever you want. Anyway, here is the Secretary of Education. Linda McMahon, who I don't think has any qualifications to be the Secretary of Education other than she, I think, tried to run some charter schools or something. Anyway.
What about educational programming centered around specific ethnic and racial experiences? My son is in a public school. He takes a class called African American History. If you're running an African American history class, could you perhaps be in violation of this court order, of this executive order?
I'm not quite certain, and I'd like to look into it further and get back to you on that.
So there's a possibility, you're saying, that public schools that run African American history classes, right? This is a class that has been taught in public schools for decades, could lose federal funding if they continue to teach African American history.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I would like to take a look at these programs and fully understand the breadth of the executive order and get back to you on that.
I think you're going to have a lot of educators and a lot of principals and administrators scrambling right now.
That's the point. They're trying to suck all the money out of education, make everybody do fucking private schools or possibly charter schools that'll benefit their friends of these people. Up next, we got Jesse Waters on the 5. Jesse Waters, idiot, but the 5 is possibly the worst show on Fox. I don't know, either that or Fox and Friends. But this is just Jesse Waters continuing to be himself. This one's about cocaine, which I would listen. Doing cocaine, I'm getting too old for that shit, but I would, if I did it, I wouldn't do it with Jesse Waters.
And we have to stop doing so much cocaine.
Not yet.
Oh. I know
Jesse.
It's good, but that's the real problem. If we'd kicked the cocaine habit, we wouldn't have these cartels driving these migrants here in the first place. And that's why we need MAHA. Richard, if you're healthy, spiritually and physically, you don't feel depressed and you don't have the need, to sniff so much blow.
Richard.
I know you're.
What the fuck, dude? I would never, ever do cocaine with Jesse Waters. It would be horrible. Up next, I don't know if anybody heard about this. Elizabeth Warren, who we haven't really covered much lately. She assaulted a reporter of some kind. And now I know you're going to watch this video and you're going to be like, I don't see anybody being assaulted, but don't worry. This reporter was assaulted. Does anybody remember when Michael Tracy, or Tracy, I forget, is it Michael Tracy or Michael Tracy, claimed that he was assaulted by, was it Maxine Waters, because she just went like this and pushed his mic away from her? This is not even that.
The shutdown. So Senator Warren, why are you so afraid of transparency? Why are you bothered by the fact that Elon Musk is attempting to expose all of this fraudulent spending. What is that about? What is the problem here? What is the problem with transparency? Do not touch me. Do not touch me. Senator Warren, I just want to answer a question. How did you get a $12 million net worth on a $200,000 salary in Congress?
Thank you.
How did you do that?
Excuse me.
How did you do that? You can keep trying to block my camera. We're on a public sidewalk, so get off of me. So you don't want to answer that question. What is it about DOGE that's such a problem to you? You just elbowed me, Senator. I got that on camera.
You just elbowed me.
Transparency is your enemy.
He almost died. Did you see that? He could have died. Nothing happened. Like nothing happened there. She was just trying to go to the car. I don't know, everybody. Don't fuck with Liz Warren. She'll elbow you. Up next, somebody actually sent this to us in the chat last night during Operation Catterday, and we didn't run it. We're going to run it now. This is unsettling. This is quite unsettling.
It's fun to stay at the YMCA. They have everything for young men to enjoy. You can hang out with all the boys. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. You can get your...
Well, that was whatever it was. Worst fucking gay disco party ever. Worst gay disco party ever. And one of the fucking Village People is a chud. Does anybody know that? One of the Village People's a chud. One of the Village People's trying to say that the Village People wasn't a gay band and shit. Did anybody see that? People, I think people know what the song the YMCA is about, right? You could get a room at the YMCA, but you couldn't have girls up there. You couldn't have women up there. So, you know, you can have your guy friends up there, though. You can have some time with the boys. With the boys. So I don't think this pastor that we're going to look at here really liked the halftime show at the Super Bowl. I can't imagine why he didn't like the halftime show at the Super Bowl, but he didn't like it.
You're going to spend 4 hours watching the Super Bowl, and you're going to hear Kendrick Lamar at halftime, and he's going to speak into your life, and you're going to sit there, and I'm saying, let the Spirit of God speak into your life right now and bring you something that you really need. I couldn't name one song that he sang if my life depended on it, and I don't care. I've decided to follow Jesus. Forget that Kendrick dude.
Wait, but you could, like, tons of Christians like Kendrick Lamar's music. I'm not super well versed on Kendrick Lamar's music, but I'm not mad at him. I just haven't followed a lot of the only hip hop I've ever really followed has been Bay Area hip hop, local stuff. I don't know why these people are mad, but friends, that guy may have seemed a little silly, but we got somebody else who was mad about the Super Bowl performance, and it's going to be a little less silly and a little more troubling. This is going to be one Mr. Stuart Peters. Some of you might be familiar with him.
After several consecutive years of conducting satanic rituals on live television, the NFL went right back to doing what it does best, giving a platform to degenerate blacks. It's just all so tiresome. Every single one of America's biggest entertainment platforms, from the fake and gay and rigged sports entertainment leagues.
The fake, gay, and rigged sports entertainment league. Oh, man. Making me want to start watching more sports.
The NFL, to the music industry, to all of our TV shows, has completely given in to this degenerate black filth culture that was created by a bunch of subversive Jews and then weaponized against the American public for obvious reasons. But This was an anti-white shit show.
Oh my fucking God, dude, fucking calm down, man. If you don't like the song, man, maybe you're Team Drake. I don't know. Oh, I don't know. It's not so great to be Team Drake. It's like being like Team Ted Nugent. But maybe I don't know. Stu Peters Team Drake. It's not a good look. I wasn't outside when all this happened, but I heard it's not a good look to be Team Drake. All right. So the spirit of witchcraft has infected someone, as it often does. And at one of these sort of, I guess, like tent revival or like mega church events, they're gonna fix it. They're gonna fix it because they always fix it. A little interesting about this one. The pastor seems to be a woman. How progressive of them.
God is freeing you right now.
I renounce seducing spirits. I renounce all of the fallen that I've worked with. I renounce.
Every last spirit of witchcraft must leave her on 3 in Jesus' name. 1, 2, 3.
I renounce all the covenants I made with her.
I cancel all of those demonic covenants now.
My heart belongs to Jesus. I don't belong to you, Satan. I belong to Jesus Christ.
Every last spirit in the order you entered, all must leave.
Not only do the bad spirits have to leave, you have to leave. You have to form a line based on when you arrived. This sounds like a lot of work, like for the spirits. Really, they're like, well, Bob, did you get here before I did, or did we arrive at the same time? Am I supposed to be in front or behind Bob?
Ow. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah.
The fivefold church. Well, that's something maybe to keep an eye on, friends. We should keep an eye on the fivefold church because it seems a little extra. There's a little bit of extra energy over there at the fivefold church. Up next, this is from Contra Mundum, whatever the fuck that is. This might be a new character for us here. This is Christian nationalist Andrew Isker. Doesn't like Riley Gaines. Riley Gaines is campaigning against trans athletes in women's sports, but the reason might surprise you, or it might not. It was always going to come to this. It was always coming to this. Fucking, we always knew this is where it was going.
Whenever you see them promote like Riley Gaines or whatever to try to, take some shots at the trans contagion or whatever.
The trans contagion.
You just see her everywhere. And it's like, no, actually, like, I want to get rid of Title IX. And that's the old right position from like the very beginning. And you are reinforcing it. You're saying like, this is the most bedrock fundamental thing is that we have women's sports, and it's absurd.
Wow. Yeah. He just wants to, maybe just women folks shouldn't be playing sports at all. Cis, trans, what have you. Just no women's sports at all. This guy would be very upset to find out how popular women's basketball is becoming. Oh my God. So I got 2 clips from this at this show called The Backlash. This first clip is, well, here you go.
There's this nexus of oligarchs that now are in power in our government that came from the apartheid government of South Africa. And I'm not saying that apartheid was wrong, maybe a little bit.
What? No.
But yeah.
I'm not saying apartheid was wrong, maybe a little bit. She's like, no, it wasn't wrong. Oh my fucking God. Oh, here we got another one from the same fucking the same show here, episode 14 of the Backlash. I just subscribed to this channel on our fake YouTube account because we might want to see more of this. I believe that the Spanish are white.
American entrepreneur. So that's interesting that there's this nexus of oligarchs that now are in power in our government.
Oh shit!
Came from
wrong timestamp.
Government of South Africa.
Let's try this again. Here you go.
Yes,
That's what he said.
Here we've got David.
Nope, it's the six. Oh, YouTube's being weird. Anyway, fucking whatever. That was supposed to be our last story for the podcast part of the show. Anybody listening on Spotify or Apple Podcast that questions whether or not this show's live, well, this show's live. YouTube just made it so we can't. So for whatever reason, the timestamp on the last clip was bad. So way to end it on a high note. But the podcast portion of the show was real short this week, so we'll go ahead and give the whole show out as a freebie. Head on over to patreon.com/echoplex or eplex.store. I prefer you go to the second one. Shout out to people for mostly signing up there. And $5 a month, you can get all of our podcasts or all of the member shows sent to you. This one will be free, so you don't have to pay anything for it. But while you're over there, consider becoming a member. And that's been the pod. If you're listening live, stay put. I am going to change the color of the lights in this room, pour myself a festive beverage, and we're going to go into red light. This is, as always, Boomers by Periscope.